Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room and let people in, as this is a live Zoom. Folks, if you would like to join us and you are watching one of the live streams or you're watching a replay, we are here Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time on most weeks. So there are a couple days where we will be playing a revisit because it was just that important and we had something come up with travels. But folks, we are here around the clock to help you get resources to help yourself, your family, your community, and together we can help the world become a healthier place. So whether or not you are on an amazing health journey, no issues at all, or you've gotten on that high road, is it the high road or the low road? That's kind of not ideal as to where you want to be in your health. There are U-turns available. Well, today we are going to be talking about children's health. And folks, we are honored to have Dr. Taylor Mitchell, a naturopath from Colorado, here to join us in today's episode of Daily with Doc and Becca. Now, if you were invited by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them. They are going to be your point of contact in this journey. And we want to make sure that you know, because they shared this program with you, they cared about you and want to make sure that you are getting the information and tools you need in order to create a better health journey. Now, this program is a resource for an amazing community of people that are health-minded, health advocates, coaches, health coaches, certified holistic health coaches, massage therapists, psychotherapists, chiropractors, naturopath doctors, nurse practitioners, medical doctors, even surgeons we have within our community that have found the importance of nutrition. And we have put this program together for the community so that they can plug their family and friends and associates in to hear information that they may not know themselves, or it's just sometimes easier to have a third party do the talking for you. So that's what we're doing. We are that third party, that validation of the importance of nutrition. And this crusade was started by Dr. Joel Wallach, who I see he is on with us today listening. Thank you so much, Doc, for being here. Now, if you are here live with us in the Zoom room, make sure that you have pinned that profile that says a smile, as that is what people out on all the different platforms, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, X, all of those places that have video, YouTube, Rumble, I said that already, Apple TV and Roku TV. This is what they are seeing out on the live stream or the replays and different channels. So pay attention to that. And also, if you're here live with us, make sure that you have that chat option, as that's where you will see the amazing Marilyn putting in information into the chat that is repeating what is being said by the guests here on the show. So if you can't take notes enough, she types fast enough. So you can just go and refer to the chat and get your notes from there. Now, if you have questions in regards to today's subject for Dr. Taylor Mitchell, please raise your hand, as we will be calling on people at the end of the show to help them with their kiddos today. So today we are kind of focusing on children's health and supporting those munchkins through this journey so that they can grow strong with big nutrition. So help me welcome to the screen Dr. Taylor Mitchell. As I mentioned, she is a naturopathic physician from Colorado, and she has found the value in the longevity supplementation that we promote here on the Daily with Doc show. But she does so much in regards to looking at all different areas of health, which I absolutely love, because so many different aspects of a medical community just throws a pill at it to mask the symptoms. So Dr. Taylor Mitchell, welcome to Daily with Doc. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you, Rebecca? I love your nails.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had them off for a little bit and it just drove me nuts, because I just, love to have pretty things in my life. So wherever we can, that's all part of the emotion part of health, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Mute me, please. All right. So, Dr. Taylor, let's talk about kiddos, children, infants, babies. Last week, we talked about women's health, and we talked about the importance of starting nutrition before getting pregnant, through pregnancy, and then into the babies. Let's pick up where we left off last week and talk about these babies. So I have a few questions. Didn't know if you had an opening that you wanted to start with, or do you want to jump right into questions?
I'm happy to jump into questions. I mean, there's a lot of like statistics and information, but I'm happy just to kind of sprinkle that in as we go along.
All right, that works fantastic. So here's a question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask. Kids, we think that they're born with a great immune system and everything that they need. Is it important to start supplementation when they're young, even if they
Absolutely.
haven't had
Of
earlier?
course. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think the parents should be supplementing at least 6 months before conception. And there's a lot of fear. So doctors tell parents that you can't supplement, you can't take vitamins and minerals as an infant. It's too much. And that is just not true. And it's really scary, even that that's the case, that there's a lot of people saying that you can't supplement a child, especially because we're looking at cord blood, for instance, how much toxicity that we're exposed to, and all these, all these chemicals that are in our blood and dirty genes and things like that. So, whenever you take nutrition away and you add all this toxicity, you're going to see a lot of issues. So you should
So
start implementing right away, in my opinion.
right. So right away. So when we're talking about toxicity, we think that a baby is completely protected when it's still in the mother's womb. When in actuality, if the mom's being exposed to toxicity because it's getting into her blood system and then affecting cord blood, if I'm not mistaken, then that's toxicity to the baby as well.
Yeah, absolutely it is. They're finding like 140 chemicals, like agricultural, industrial chemicals in cord blood. It's an issue.
Wow, it's a major issue. So where do you recommend that we start? I know we start, before mom starts getting pregnant, but as far as a nutritional program, where would we start with our young ones?
So I don't really know a better supplementation, especially for children, than longevity. There's so many options. If you go, and I have people that bring me all their supplements, and I see a lot of kids, and I'm like, bring me all the supplements that you guys take, and they have these chewable dinosaur vitamins, and their bodies don't like that, unfortunately, because there's the absorbability factor. Longevity is colloidal, and most of them are metallic. And so with metallic, they can only be like 10 to 30% absorbable. And so what's happening with the other, 90 to 70% is it can be stored in the lower intestine, and it can contain free radicals and malabsorption, and like you don't want to take supplements that your body can't absorb. Does that make sense to you guys? Like colloidal versus metallic minerals. Longevity has highly absorbable and assimilatable nutrition. And unfortunately, places like Sprouts or Whole Foods, they have some good stuff, you could say, but I wouldn't give my kids stuff you can find on the counter. Personally, I think there's stuff out there that's been well researched, and also we rely on our FDA to look at our supplements and make sure that there's all this quality control. However, there's really no quality control. I'm sorry to say, but the FDA does not have our best interest. They especially don't have our kids' best interest. So nobody's really watching to see what the sources are coming from. Is it from, are these this vitamin C from genetically modified corn? That kind of stuff. It's really important that we are able to know where our stuff is coming from. And since longevity literally has a tour, you can see the process from A to Z of how it's all made. Then we can know that we're getting the best stuff out there, some of the best stuff out there. So, you know, these vitamins that people are bringing in, giving to their kids do not test well for them. And so longevity always tests strong, especially for children. Longevity has, I mean, it's incredible to see how much people like the products. And, when we talk about products, because there's all these options, I can jump into that now if you want. But the sprinkles, the kids toddy, the EFAs, I know it's hard to get EFAs down for kids. But one way you can do that is, and I don't recommend drinking juice, but like finding a way, because like kids swallowing a big pill, it's hard. So find a way to like squirt it into something. Or do you have a solution for that?
Well, the multi-EFA is a very small soft gel that has essential fatty acids
Yeah,
in
but
it.
I'm talking about infants. Like there's got to be a way. So maybe like adding it to breast
Oh,
milk or
gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. Or,
children
for
need it.
absolutely.
So
So I know with the multi-EFA, it doesn't have a fishy taste. So you can
mhm,
puncture it because it's coming from primrose
mhm.
and squeeze it into their under their tongue, into their mouth, and then as they're feeding, then it gets down into their system.
That's good to know. I've never tasted it
Um,
outside the capsule. So that's good to know.
yeah, yeah. So it doesn't have a fishy taste at all.
Well, how about that?
And what else?
And so there's the I-26 chewables. The I-26 incredible because it can kill over, 26 pathogens found in the human microbiome. And we got to do that. Kids are not just they're not just super resilient to everything. I mean, especially since we vaccinate children. I'm not saying don't vaccinate. However, there are some really concerning ingredients in there that can lower the immune system, such as formaldehyde. So, we want to make sure that we give our children what they need, and breast milk's important too. There's the pre and probiotics, the little the root beer belly is so good. I love the taste of root beer belly, and the chewable vitamin C. And then I even say like the Tropical Plus. You can dilute that if you want and drink that. That's great. I've gotten kids to drink that. I used to in the neighborhood kids. I used to make tangy tangerine popsicles. And
Nice.
that was a hit. So I encourage parents to be creative. I was like my nephew's nanny for a few months, and I just saw these ways I had to make healthy food taste really good. So there's a lot of options out there, things we can do.
There are a lot of options now. What are some of the most common nutritional deficiencies that you've seen in children?
It's a great question. So 33% of children are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. That's a startling
Uh-huh.
number. And the statistics I'm going to read to you guys are very startling, and it's very sad. But that's 1 out of 3 children are
Wow.
diagnosed or have type 2 diabetes right now in America. I mean, this is an epidemic that we all have to be talking about, the children's health. If you guys ever listen to RFK, he talks about it, how our children are the most important asset that we have in our society, and they are at a major decline. So I would say that type 2 diabetes is oftentimes associated. Dr. Wallach was able to prove that it's a chromium and vanadium deficiency. That, along with toxicity, there's heavy metals, there's parasites, there's fungus, there's mold, there's all these things that we're exposed to. And if we're not taking nutrients, we are going to see symptoms. So I see children as young as 1 year old, and it's so cute. But they have gut issues too. And like, we're seeing children have symptoms, breaking out in rashes, at young ages. And I see a lot of kids with seizures, and so I ask a lot of
Mhm.
questions. I'm like, well, what are some things you do and don't do? And I see parents are so paranoid. They don't want to, do anything that their doctor doesn't say because there's so much fear. Because having a seizure for parents, I'm sure, is really, really traumatic.
That would
So,
be.
yeah. And so 77% of kids are not eligible for military because of the state of their health, of obesity. 40% of kids are overweight or obese. 36% of kids have mental, emotional, or behavioral disorders. They say 1 out of 22 children are autistic, and I would say it's higher than that. I see, kids especially in places like Oklahoma. I think it's worse, maybe because of the toxic load there seems to be higher. And then young adult cancers are up 79%. What the F?
I'm going to repeat that. Young adult cancers are up 79%.
It's horrific. I mean, I have goosebumps even saying that. It makes me so sad. And with a lot of this, I think that we should blame, I'm sorry, but pediatricians and OBGYNs, like they're pumping these kids full of drugs, and they're telling parents not to supplement. This is an issue. And then not to mention that they're like having women put tape over their breasts to stop them from breastfeeding. They're saying don't breastfeed. Breast milk is essential to the kids' development and their health. And a cholesterol, I would say, cholesterol deficiency is a huge issue for neurological development. So our brain, I think it's Dr. Wallach says 82% of our brain by weight is cholesterol. So if we're giving our babies baby formula, we're not getting any cholesterol at all. The ingredients are extremely hazardous, like corn syrup solids and soybean oil, canola oil. Look at baby food. Go to like the grocery store and look at the ingredients on baby food. Why would they put canola oil in baby food? That's not necessary. And so breast milk has all the nutrients, and it helps with develop the child's structural system and the cells and the hormones and the brain. I mean, it's our development. We have to be breastfeeding. And um, people who can't produce, like women who can't produce breast milk, that's also a major increase. I know people personally first who can't conceive and also who can't produce breast milk, and that's very sad.
And do you think that they go back to many of them, maybe not all of them, but many of them, nutritional deficiencies
For sure, a lot of
over
things.
toxicity?
So I think a lot of it is mental as well for the husband and the wife. So if people are in a state of stress, a lot of women, because in this society we have men and women working, and if a woman's working in a very stressful environment, and or the husband's really stressed out or doesn't, but if they're in disagreement about certain things or they're fighting all the time, that oftentimes can restrict the ability for women to be able to develop breast milk. So there's that. And there's also nutrient deficiencies 100%, because with all the toxicity, like we talked about, and all the pesticides, and unfortunately, our kids are so susceptible because there's artificial food dyes. They don't give these artificial food dyes to any other country. The same companies make these cereals and give other countries cereal without food dye. And they give, they have natural coloring like carrot and sweet potato. They give us these red dye number 40, which is associated with aggressive and violent behavior. And so with the amount of toxic load in our food, the pesticides, all the canola oils, it makes blood become more thick and sticky, and it restricts flow. So that definitely will have an impact as well. So that there's a lot of things as to what can cause the inability to produce breast milk. But and also they're finding microplastics in breast milk. That's crazy. I know I talked about that last week, the microplastics, and 0.5% of our
Yeah,
brain is microplastics. That's so scary. But these are issues that I'm so glad that we're talking about here. And I'm so glad that you guys are all listening. Thank you guys all so much for being here to hear this, because this is information that we need to get out there so we can stop it.
yeah, absolutely. So just kind of a short little recap. behavioral issues, type 2 diabetes found in children, a rise in cancers, the autism. I remember when it was 1 in 40,000, and now it's 1 in 22 or worse.
Yeah.
That just, it's like, we got to wake up.
We have to.
So folks, that's what we're here for, is to help you see where issues may be stemming from. Not just talk about all the things that are going wrong in the world, but also solutions.
We're your
And that
solution.
we are solution finders. Absolutely. We are part of the solution to a very toxic world and nutritionally deficient world. So if you're hearing something today on Daily with Doc and Becca, make sure that you share this with somebody. Doesn't matter what platform you're hearing it on, you are able to share. It doesn't matter if, it does matter. If somebody shared this with you, you want to make sure that you get back with them and thank them and say, how can I be part of the solution? Because that's where all of us working together, helping our families and communities, that we can actually make a massive, massive impact positively in the world.
Yeah.
So again, get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is no one to thank, feel free to give our call team a call at 855-949-3377. Now, just a reminder, this program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, nor are the products meant to treat, diagnose, or cure disease. But folks, science of epigenetics has proven the genetic theory to be incorrect. There are very few things that are related to genetics. Of course, your eye color, your hair color, the color of your skin, the shape of your face, those type of things, they all have to do with your genes. But Dr. Wallach is one of the founding fathers of this science of epigenetics that has proven changing the things in your environment, whether they're around you or going on your skin or in your body, and making sure that you're getting what the body needs, can make a massive impact on who you become when it comes to your health journey. So make sure that you get a copy of this book, Epigenetics, from Dr. Wallach's website, drjwallach.com. I just want to do a shout out again. Thank you, Dr. Wallach, for being on with us and continuing to support the community, even when you're not on the show with us. So we'll give you a moment at the end of the show to say a few words as we close, Doc. So we're not going to forget you. Now, Dr. Taylor, what are some of the lifestyle changes that you would recommend in supporting children's health, in addition to the supplements that you mentioned?
Great question. So I wanted to add that children need 90 essential nutrients, just like Doc says. We need 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids every single day, because we're not getting it from food. And like we talk about, our soils are depleted, and not only mentioned, our food is poisoned. And so that all being said, we've got to support our bodies. And when it comes to lifestyle, kids need to get outside. And so, you know that kids get less sunshine than maximum security prisoners now in America? I don't know if you knew
Well,
that, but that's
even
startling.
maximum security get about half an hour to an hour a day in the yard.
Exactly.
That's my corrections background coming out. Sorry, guys. But you're absolutely right. If we don't kick kids outside to do something these days, they don't go.
They don't go. And what are they doing instead? Screen time. And what is that? what is what does screen time do to the brain? It damages the outer cortex of the brain over time. And so that, especially if the brain's developing, when we're looking at the screen all the time, we're damaging the outer cortex. That is associated with memory and focus and just the development itself. So we're interrupting all these processes, and then it's like so much dopamine all the time. All these
Mhm.
we're exciting all the dopamine all the time, and so that actually can make kids more prone to addiction, and also poor eating habits. So people are way more likely to eat unhealthier foods if they're on screen time for whatever reason that is. There are studies that they have done about that. Not to mention that screen time can also cause mental and emotional disorders too. It makes you more depressed. I know it's a great
Wow.
way to connect, but I see kids on the tablets and parents. Actually, I have some good friends here in Colorado. They're doctors and they're amazing and they have children and they limit their screen time to their kids. If the kid's being loud and obnoxious, people say, here's the tablet so you can be quiet. Or if you're in the car, people have long drives and the kids make noise and the kids don't like to sit still. And so the kids want to be entertained. And so parents always just give them the tablet. However, that can cause a lot of dependency on the screen, and so that will make kids way more likely to just, use it all the time. So it's like with parents, I understand because it's hard. Kids scream in the car. You don't want, to drive with somebody screaming the whole time. However, there's games that you can get. There's like, my sister got really creative with all these games that you can play in the car, like puzzles and fun little things that they can do. So there are solutions, but I know that it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard for kids to eat healthy all the time. It's hard to sometimes for parents to have a solution to when kids are being loud and obnoxious and they want them to be quiet. But yeah, I encourage you to get your kids outside. Have them, join a soccer league or something like that. However, don't let them play on the artificial turf or the artificial courts because those are linked with cancer. They're banned in other countries. The real grass, barefoot, outside in the sun, playing. That's what our kids need to be doing. And parents are afraid of their kids getting barefoot. I understand that. They're like, oh, they're germs or the pesticides. However, there are areas where there's no pesticides, and there's areas where you don't have to worry about bacteria as much. So make sure the kids are getting barefoot so we're connecting to nature. Because kids need to connect to nature. We're supposed to be connected to the earth. And also
Oh,
the sun
absolutely.
will regulate our circadian rhythm. And so, it helps with mood and things like that and energy. So we want sun time on our children and we want the earth. We want nature.
Yes, we absolutely do. And we have comments coming in. Out on YouTube, we got Olga. I know she's in the UK. She says, I worked at primary school. So many health issues among young children these days, and many parents think it's just normal.
Yeah, it's not normal. I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't really sick and I didn't really have a lot of sick friends. I mean, every now and then you would get a cold, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like chronic illness.
Right, right. And then it, here's a question, and I think this part of what you just mentioned can be helpful for this. So Harry down in Australia says, how do we help an elderly soul to sleep better? His friend is 80 years old, has sleep apnea, fell out of bed 2 weeks ago
Oh,
from the of no oxygen. So
I'm sorry.
you talked about the circadian rhythm. That could be beneficial in this.
Mhm.
What else would you recommend to help somebody sleep better?
It's a great question. So it depends. Are they waking up at 3 in the morning? Do they having a hard time sleeping? Are they having a hard time staying asleep, going to sleep? It just really depends. But what can help overall is in the morning, go outside and get like 10 to 20 minutes of sun exposure. Not with take your sunglasses off, get sun directly into your eyes. That is an incredible way to regulate your circadian rhythm. Another thing is you can do some deep breathing towards the end of the evening. A couple minutes of slow rhythmic breathing. First, you can lose a couple pounds of toxins a week if you do it every day. Another thing is you can relax your nervous system and help your body kind of go into like a relaxed state. There's things you can start doing like knitting and sewing or reading books. That's really helpful. Make sure that if you're drinking caffeine, then I would stay away from if you're having a hard time sleeping, then there's something that can be causing it called heart heat. It's a Chinese medicine term. Spicy food, coffee, matcha, and chocolate, cacao, that kind of stuff. can create that heart heat and makes it hard to sleep. So at nighttime as well, I would limit screen time. And I would also get blue light glasses because that'll help as well. I know we talked about that before. She's got hers right there. Yay!
There we go.
Yes, there we
So
go.
much.
Yes, and then also dim the lights at night. So whenever your home is in a relaxed state, you're way more likely to get better sleep. Play some like Hertz frequencies or something really relaxing and kind of wind down. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure you're not eating carbohydrates too late because that can, give your body some energy. And make sure that you're also not eating late because if your body's digesting, it's producing energy, and that can also be affecting you. And if you're waking up at like 3 a.m., that's actually the liver detoxing. And sometimes the liver gets overburdened and stressed with too much toxicity all at once, and or whatever it's going through. If you're doing like a cleanse or something, that sometimes can happen as well. But just overall, if you're waking up at 3 in the morning and can't go back to sleep, that's because your liver is waking you up because it's too stressed and overburdened. People who drink a lot of alcohol, that usually is the case. And then 4 a.m., that's the lungs around that time. Like 2 and 3 is the liver, and then after 3 to 4 is like transitioning into the lungs. And so people who live in an area with bad air quality or people who smoke or used to smoke, that also can be the case. So, there's a lot. That's kind of a loaded answer, but I would limit caffeine to earlier in the day instead of later because that also can definitely affect sleep. And people who are more sensitive to sleep, I recommend that you switch to green tea because that doesn't create that heart heat. So,
All
anyways.
right, great recommendations. Whether you're 80 years old, 18 years old, 38, 8 months, those are all great recommendations. They're 18 months. 18 months, they're, eating more solid foods, but really paying attention to what you eat and the time of day that you eat it. Most importantly, the movement, the exercise, the lifestyle activities that you are participating in can be beneficial, whether it's to stay awake or fall asleep. So some great questions on that as well. So let's bump up. You had talked about the common nutritional deficiencies. Now, when we look at nutritional deficiencies, most of the time what we're seeing are symptoms. Do you find that when you do this for that works as well? Or is it when you treat the body as a whole, does it work better?
Treat the body as a whole and it works better. So, these basic recommendations are really like an overall recommendation for health and wellness, like the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. If people would start drinking that, then they can prevent so many issues. They won't have to worry as much about getting type 2 diabetes or Alzheimer's disease and things like that. Not saying that's not possible, but you're way less likely to experience all these symptoms if you're being proactive instead of reactive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you had mentioned green tea. Now, a lot of people do need that energy, and the product that I didn't share with you, which is great for children, teens, adults, all more of us distinguished adults that are getting up there closer to that whole beautiful century mark, is the pollen burst drink, where it uses green tea, as you mentioned, for that little bit of caffeine boost. So it's that natural caffeine in addition to the bee pollen. No, it's not bee pollen, flower pollen, and the nutrients that help to give a healthy energy as well. And Rebound also uses green tea. I know that's one of Dr. Wallach's very favorite drinks of all, is the Rebound, which comes in sticks. There we go. The sticks, the canisters, or the cans. I prefer the canister or the sticks because there is less sugar and actually more nutrients than the can. Even though the can is super convenient, you don't even have to carry a bottle of water with you. But bottled water is something else that we have to kind of be cautious of, because you were talking about those nanoplastic particles that are being found in our brain.
Definitely, I know, and cash register receipts, and I mean, almost everything, unfortunately, has plastic. It's like it's only been around for about 100 years, but it's just we live in this microwave society where we want fast and convenience, and you go to Trader Joe's, and almost everything is stored in plastic, especially the vegetables are like almost all plastic. So yeah, I mean, it's good to avoid it when you can. Get like a hydro flask or get a bottle that's not made from plastic that you can carry around with you and just wash it. That's what I do. I very, very rarely ever drink bottled water unless I absolutely have to out of a plastic bottle.
Yeah. Now, does it make a difference if you take this stuff from the plastic bottle and put it into your hydro flask?
I mean, it'll still have the plastics in it, but you'll get less because you won't have the plastic on your lips, So it's less, but
Oh,
try to avoid it when you can, And the Mountain Valley spring water, if you guys ever go to the grocery store and see those in those big green glass jars, though, that's the best water, and that actually never touches plastic. So if you really want to
oh,
avoid
nice.
that stuff's the best. That's the water I love to drink.
And it's in glass. And I know that there, a lot of people will go and fill up their water jugs, their 5 gallon, 3 gallon plastic jugs, even though it says BPA free.
Well, there's
Is
other
that it?
chemicals. There's other things out there that's not labeled under BPA. So yeah, it's great that it's not BPA, but if there's so many other things out there that we have to be concerned about other than just BPA. So it's almost the same.
Okay. But folks, there are glass containers that you can use when you're going to get your water, whether it's a spring water and you're getting it from a special place, which I'm really jealous, Dr. Taylor, because you do have somewhere close by where you can get real spring water.
Right.
Um, I'm as close as I can get with having my own well and then filtering out the stuff I don't like living here in a farming community. But then it's still, if you're pulling water out of a system and storing it, be very mindful about how you're storing that. Like in the refrigerator, a lot of people fill up a plastic, even a milk jug,
Mhm.
which that's that's problemsome in itself when you've got milk being stored in a plastic container.
I know. I know that they're trying to like ban plastic, but it's like it's so convenient. And I know that AJ just said that glass is heavy on your bike. I totally understand. It is heavy. It's heavy on hikes too. So that's why I have like little mini like hydro flask bottles that I just pour it in. That's more convenient. It's smaller than like a huge one, so I have it in my fanny pack, and so I bring two of them, and so I stack them on top of each other so it'll fit in there. I know it's a little heavy, but to me it's worth it because I'm like I want to avoid plastic if I can, just because I'm seeing how much it's affecting our generations.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I've got my great big stainless steel here. And I found they make like cozies with straps so that you can carry them and be
Yeah.
hands free. So I saw that. That was pretty exciting. And I'm like, oh, I need to get some of those with the Daily with Doc logo on them and offer them to those of our amazing listeners. So Christmas gifts, if you're watching, and I know who you are because you've been communicating and we've had interactions, it is very possible you could get a Christmas gift from the Daily with Doc team.
Oh,
So, Dr. Taylor, we've got about 20 more minutes here. When we're looking at things that we can do or not do in our nutrition for ourselves, for our children, what are some extra nuggets that you're able to offer for us?
totally. So I know that whenever a child is first born, they can't have solid foods for a while. They can't chew and swallow like pizza or chicken. So, what I discovered is that if you buy a food processor, get all these organic foods, you can make it yourself. And I know it's like not the best thing out there, like food process, like doing that. However, it's so much better than like spending tons of money on the organic food. I know I watched my sister buy all those organic little packets, and they're so expensive. And then honestly, you would find full ones all over the place because her son would only do a tiny bit at a time, and then it's done. And of course, you can't reopen or you can't reuse the same ones. That's one thing. And then also, I think it's really important to mention to get more sustainable brand diapers because they're finding so many chemicals and like the Huggies diapers, they're finding all kinds of endocrine disrupting chemicals added,
Mhm.
like PFAs in the Huggies diapers, which can lead to infertility. And another thing I wanted to mention is that we like men, like teenagers, like adolescents, are have 50% less sperm count than they did from the last generation. And also women, like girls, are getting their period at 8 years old now. That's 8 years younger than it was 70 years ago. So, children 8 years old are getting their period, are now able to get pregnant at 8 years old, basically. Like that's not healthy. That's startling to me. There's some stuff
Mm.
going on with that. And so, just avoid these things as much as we can. Eat organic and eat organically grown as much as possible. I know it's expensive. However, what's your health and life worth to you? If your brain works better, if your body works at optimum potential, how worth is that to you? Um, and another thing to mention is that seed oils are in almost everything, every processed food. They're in most chips. And I forgot what company, but some like really big bad company just bought the Siete tortilla chips, which is ridiculous. So, it's really important that we feed our bodies the nutrients that we need and also eat healthy, especially in America, because we have the sickest kids in all of the United States. We don't see these health issues that we have here in the United States than we do in other countries like Switzerland and Japan and things like that. We live 6 years less than other nations do. And another thing is important is to have a mental health routine. Make sure that we are taking care of our mental health as well as our physical health. We need to be deep breathing. We need to be, dropping in and having like some type of spiritual practice. Healing is also very spiritual. I don't think that we talk about that enough. But spirituality is a huge part of our health. If you don't have a healthy relationship with God or a higher power, then we are going to see it in other different ways. Like you're going to see it in your health. So having, just taking a look at your spirituality and your spiritual health and making sure that you're at a good place with that and not at a place of restriction and fear like a lot of people are. And yeah, I mean, do you have any, is that all the questions that you had?
I think that's pretty much, the main focus of the questions, unless you can think that I missed one. We can go back to the supplements that you would recommend for children, but also, can you think of any that you would think would be great for kids, but really aren't?
Oh yeah, I mean, like the gummy bites, like the ones that you find at the grocery store. I personally think that people need to learn how to muscle test and ask the children's bodies. But things that we think aren't healthy, in my opinion, I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. Like, I mean, like how many times have you heard somebody say I overdosed on vitamins and I took too many? I mean, have you ever anybody, I don't know, has anybody ever heard the listening audience? Has anybody ever heard that?
So I mean, you overdose on vitamin C, it's going to clean you out,
Yeah, exactly.
but that's not a bad thing, right?
No, I don't think it is. And so you don't want to take, vitamins on their own. You need to take the complex. People that take just vitamin C by itself, you got to make sure you're taking all the other 15 different vitamins. You got to make sure that, the minerals, people take minerals by themselves, and that actually can be more harmful because they need cofactors. And what that means is your body's going to use your reserves to break it down and assimilate it. And so we need to make sure that we're taking them because they're all connected like a web. So you got to take the 90 essential nutrients together. That's why. And also, the strawberry and kiwi mints, the
Oh,
minerals. I
yeah.
don't think I mentioned those. Those are so tasty. They're so healthy, and I think that kids love them. And I think that's another really great thing to give to children. And and when you go to school and you look at the school lunches, it is terrible to see what they feed kids. And I think, there's people joining forces together right now trying to make changes in our society when it comes to food and pesticides and what we're feeding our children. They're hopefully going to ban a lot of things. If they would ban glyphosate, I don't know if you guys know what glyphosate is. It's Roundup. They spray it on like 95% of the crops in the United States, which is definitely associated with neurological disorders and cancer. I mean, there's so many lawsuits talking about the harmful impact it has on the body. And that's, something that if we could avoid that, I think we would be able to avoid a lot of these health issues that we're seeing. But I remember whenever I was younger and I had my soccer games, my parents would give us fruit roll-ups and gushers. And that's what everybody else was doing. But you can go to Sprouts and natural grocers, you can find the healthier version. And so,
Mhm.
you don't have to miss out completely. And they can taste almost the same. And then, you get things like Oreos, and those are oh, but they have healthier versions. So it's important that parents, because I know I have people in my life that are like, it's impossible to avoid all these health issues. They get overwhelmed and stressed. They're eating those Nature Valley bars. You look on the back of the box, it says made with bioengineered ingredients. It's like, I understand that it's hard, but I mean, it can be hard, but like just educating yourself a little bit and just making sure that the stuff that your kids are eating and that you're eating, either you're making it yourself or you're getting a better version of it. And so I always recommend going to the health food store. I know that Walmart's convenient and it's cheap, but you don't want, because like we are what we eat. Do you want your body to be cheap and fake?
Mm-mm. No,
Exactly.
no. And you mentioned school lunches full of carbohydrates and engineered meats,
Mhm. Yeah.
meat substitutes.
Yeah.
But carbohydrates and sugars, and it's like, how do you expect a kid to be able to sit through a class, pay attention, learn without acting up
They
when
can't.
you're not doing it?
And that's
Yeah.
why children are now being diagnosed with ADHD, because that's what happened to me when I was younger. I was hyperactive and I had a ton of energy, and I lived in Golden, Colorado, and there was a mountain view in my classroom. I wanted to be outside. And so my teacher told my parents that you have to put Taylor on medication. She has ADHD and she has too much energy. And so that's what's happening. They pump kids full of these monster drinks too. They pump kids full of these sodas. You know that all the there's so much funding, that's all this advertising and stuff like that, and like a lot of it's just paid for by different companies like Pepsi. They're like, all these organizations are all kind of working together against us. And and I would say that juice is marketed as a healthy food, like grape juice and apple juice, but Dr. Wallach, I know he mentions that it's oxidized. And so, oxidized fruits and vegetables, and also when you separate juice from its fiber source, that can be really harmful to the liver. It's just like drinking a cup of sugar. And
Mhm.
so, kids are drinking all these juices, and they're um, they're claiming that it's healthier. And I know that it's like hard to get a kid to drink anything, but it's like, if you get them stuff that's delicious, like Cheri-Mins and Kiwi-Mins, they're gonna want that, or the strawberry sprinkles, or the root beer sprinkles. Those are important.
Oh, absolutely. And there's the pre plus probiotics. I mean, there's so many things that taste good that we can insert into our children's lifestyle that definitely will make them healthier without the fight. So we do have a hand up. So let's go ahead, and we've got some questions coming in as well. And AJ, what question do you have for us today?
Hi,
You
AJ.
know, hey, Dr. Taylor, you're inspirational. I really appreciate you coming on with us. Um, I had a question about like what you thought. Do you think that there's a push with your generation and your friends, and do you think that do you think that you can create a critical mass of thoughtful people who are out to do better than we did?
Absolutely. I mean, I think people are waking up now more than ever, especially with the way that the government and everybody handled COVID. I think COVID definitely brought a lot of change to our society, but I think it woke more people up than not. So yeah, I mean, if you're asking like, do you think that we can create a generation of healthy minded people? Absolutely we can. I think more people now are taking charge of their health like ever before. And I think that it's gotten bad. It's gotten so bad that it's like it's gotta get better, you know? So is that what you're asking?
In a way, because I see some folks, some influencers on I forget the platform. But they
TikTok,
mention, I'm sorry.
TikTok.
No, it's Substack. And then they talk about other people, being dangerous, like Kennedy spreading the wrong, words. And I'm trying to avoid my words because we got banned in YouTube for one of the videos. So they say that the safe people are these people who don't agree with the type of things that we talk about. And in particular, this one woman who's a MD who this person said was safe has a whole article talking about the glory of glyphosate,
What? Somebody's glorifying glyphosate?
saying how safe it is, and it just letting you know.
Well,
There's
you're always going to get the opposite, you know. So, like some people say, like doctors say that you're not supposed to take nutrition, all the stuff that we're talking about, healthy food, and there's always going to be people disagreeing, you know. And so, and was it one of Rebecca's videos that were banned on YouTube?
yeah.
Oh wow. So, there's fact checkers out there that are wanting to, just to stop what we're sharing. I mean, how many people have tried to say that what Dr. Wallach has been teaching is false? There's so many fact checkers out there saying that his research and the lawsuits with the FDA are not legitimate. And so there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be haters. And they're like, if you're standing up for something, like you're never going to appease to everyone. And so it's up to you. Do you want to give that your focus, or do you want to reach the people who do actually want to hear this? Because all the listening audience, these people are open-minded. These people want to learn. These people are interested in what we have to share. And so I personally used to spend time trying to convince people who didn't want to listen to me that they should listen to me. And I wasted so much time and energy. And I'm like, now I have more than enough people. In fact, sometimes more than I can handle, people who want to hear what I have to say. And so it's like, that's where our focus should go. And that's going to grow. People who do want to hear what we have to say, people who do agree with us, because we're not going to be able to appease everyone. Not everybody's going to agree with this. And that's okay. That's totally fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, the people that are doing good in the world, I think are the ones that come up against the most opposition. And Dr. Wallach has seen a ton of opposition in his life, and the decades that he has been fighting for our health freedoms, along with his attorney, Jonathan E. suing the FDA 8 times with victories in regards to specific nutrients, making sure they're getting into the baby formulas, into prenatal vitamins, being able to say, just imagine this, folks. They didn't want, the FDA, being they, were restricting doctors or whoever from being able to say that essential fatty acids were needed for heart and brain health. Dr. Wallach fought for that. So now, not just longevity and himself and us can say that they're needed for brain health, but the whole world, especially in the nutritional industry. A lot of the things that are being done now, Dr. Wallach has been talking about for decades. I see new doctors, old doctors coming up like they're the most brilliant people in the world. Well, they've got a brilliant marketing plan. Digital marketers that are getting their information out in front of people. But it's the things that Dr. Wallach himself started and have been saying for at least 50 years. So it's amazing. And I am so thankful for you, Dr. Taylor, as you're bringing in a whole new generation and speaking to a whole new demographic of individuals and spreading the truth and the importance of nutrition. I just absolutely love it. So thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to try to see if we can get Doc on. So if you want to do any closing comments, that would be absolutely fantastic. Let me see if he's still here. And
He is unmuted.
we'll do it this way. Hi, Doc.
Hey, I want to thank Dr. Taylor and thank you, Becca. We've come a long way in the 75 years I've been working on this. We have built an army of like minds, and we cannot thank them enough. And so we have a lot of great things happening. We have more tools. We have more effective ways to get the information out. And this next year is going to be enormously beneficial for humanity. And I cannot thank each and every one of you, like Dr. Taylor and Rebecca. Thank you so much for all you do for humanity. God bless you and keep up the great work.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Doc.
oh. Yeah, Dr. Wallach, I mean, you have inspired me more than I can even let you know. I mean, I don't think I would become a naturopath if I didn't meet you, and I became so obsessed with your knowledge. For years, that's all I could talk about to my friends and my family. I couldn't talk about anything else. I couldn't think about anything else, which is how obsessed with your knowledge and information I was, because it's so interesting. It's so needed in all generations, from before conception all the way to death. Everybody needs to hear the message that you have to say, and the message that you've actually been able to prove many times. I mean, this man, Dr. Wallach, his book is in the Smithsonian Institute. It's recognized as a national treasure. I mean, how many people can say that their doctor and founder has an accomplishment like that? I mean, this man he's done a lifetime of accomplishments. I mean, Dr. Wallach is just like such a genius, and he's right here on our Zoom. We're so honored. And also, Rebecca, thank you so much for what you've created, and all your whole team. You guys are all so wonderful. And there's Doc. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute.
There he is.
Hey, we're family, and I can't thank you enough. The kids are everything. And so we really, really have to keep the information flowing down into the kids at younger ages. And as they grow up, they will share it with their buddies in school and teams and churches and so forth. And it's good now, and it's going to get better every day. We can't thank you enough for all you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Doc. And Dr. Taylor, do you have a favorite book that Dr. Wallach has written?
I mean, the one you just pulled up, Epigenetics, that one will blow your mind. Everybody needs to read that. To really understand, you know, how like she said, like our hair color, our eye color is genetic, but what diseases are not genetic.
That's
Like you don't just pass down faulty genes to people. Like, oh, I have a bad heart. Like, it's just like that. I mean, I like to think like Adam and Eve, they must have been the most disease-ridden people in the world if that were true, right?
Right.
So.
Yep, absolutely. And folks, you can get Dr. Wallach's books. He has 25 published books on his website, plus many audios at drjwallach.com, or you can call at 800-755-4656. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you again, Dr. Taylor Mitchell, Dr. Joel Wallach, and if I could get my team up on the screen with us, I could not do this without them. Thank you, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, for being our executive production manager and helping to keep everything rolling and flowing and pushed out to all the different streams. Thank you, Marilyn, for your amazing skill in sharing that with us as you do a beautiful job transcription into the chat. Thank you, AJ, for setting up all the different platforms that we now stream to and have this information available to all who are looking for it. And that's one thing that I love about attraction marketing. we have more and more people looking for solutions because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's what Daily with Doc and the whole Longevity family are here for, is to provide that solution to help those who are sick and tired no longer be sick and tired. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc and Becca. Again, get back with the person that shared this program with you. They cared enough about you, so care enough about saying thank you. And if there's nobody that you are working with, nobody that referred you, and you would like to get in contact with a certified holistic health coach to help you based on what Dr. Wallach teaches, find out what is the most beneficial program for you, give us a call at 855-949-3377. Again, 855-949-3377. And Stephen, I know you had a question that I cannot answer on the air, or else we will have our show shut down. But please get in contact with us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. I know Dr. Taylor Mitchell has a great program for detoxification, so I'll make sure that I get that from her so that we can share that with you as well. So folks, again, thank you so much for being here. Share this program with somebody that you know, whether you love them or hate them, it does not matter. As we are loving on others, we can feel better as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic, fabulous day. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Thank you, team. We are family, and we are going to work on saving the earth and the humanity in God's name. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.